guys, welcome back to the week number 7, topic number 2, rocks and fossil on wide world.
Okay, so have a look at this picture, and this is a picture of a fossil, and this was an animal called the Samoyed, and this was almost 200 million years ago. Okay, so it got trapped in the rock. So try to look at the picture of the skeleton and draw what you think the animal might have looked like in real life.
Real Samoyed.
And as you can tell, it was somewhat like a lizard, but it was much more fat like a lizard. So this was somewhere between a dinosaur and a lizard. Okay, and again, this was almost 200 million years ago.
Samoyed is extinct, so it means you don't see them at all on the world.
So, coming to the purpose, today we will learn about fossils to be able to explain relationships between physical characteristics and natural phenomena of the country, and give examples of rocks and minerals in daily life, together with comparing processes of igneous, sedimentary rock and metamorphic rock, and explain rock cycle, then create a model that explains causes of a fossil.
Alright, a lot of vocabulary.
So the first is a mineral. So mineral is something important that you find inside rocks. Okay, so minerals have elements like calcium, potassium. Okay, they're all minerals, and then they form crystalline rocks when they combine together under the surface of the earth.
Second one, form. So it's how the fossil is going into the form, like all the process make it as a form.
Third is fuse. So fuse is when you heat something, when you heat a solid and it melts, and then you heat another solid which melts, and then you put them together. Okay, so if you take a plastic cap and you heat it, and then you heat another plastic cap, they fuse together. Okay, so that is fusion. Fusion is coming together.
The next one, melt. Melt. So melt, it's if you burn something and then the texture is getting from solid to liquid. So if you take like a candle and then you burn it, then the wax is melting and going to liquid.
Next is heat. So when you apply a higher temperature to something, it is called heat.
The next one, pressure. So if you have two things and you put pressure on it, or like the soil under the ground has a pressure on the ground.
And next is extinct. So the dinosaur is extinct. Okay, extinct means the animal is dead and it no longer exists on Earth.
And the last one, imprint. Imprint, that's the fossil. It's like you see the print of the shape of the animal.
So the types of rocks, the first one is igneous rock. So when you have a volcano that erupts and the lava comes out and then melts, it forms igneous rocks.
Then the sedimentary rocks. So sedimentary rocks are formed by the deposition of small mineral or organic particles on the floor of oceans, under the water.
And also when igneous rocks take a long time, they become sedimentary rocks again. Okay? And finally, you have metamorphic rocks, and metamorphic rocks are made from other rocks that have changed under huge heat and pressure. Okay, so we will study about these in more detail as we go on. So just some example, in your kitchen, you usually have granite, and that granite is a type of igneous rock. Okay.
Then here for the buildings, you see the orange bricks. So they're like sandstone. When you take a hammer and you break the brick, it's being sandy.
And finally, marble is a type of metamorphic rock. Okay, so igneous rock and sedimentary rock have a lot of when you apply a lot of pressure and a lot of temperature, it becomes a metamorphic rock.
Okay. So here the rock cycle, you have here a graphic.
So what happens is all three rocks, the igneous rock, the sedimentary rock, and the metamorphic rock go in a circle. Okay, they go in a cycle. First you have the lava from the volcano, and that becomes an igneous rock. Then over a period of time, there is minerals that get deposited on that igneous rock, and they break down, and then they form sedimentary rocks. Okay, so the sedimentary rock has a timeline also. Okay, so 100 million years ago is at the extreme bottom. Then 50 million has another bottom. Then 25 million, you have another layer of rock. So that is the sedimentary rock. Okay, and then the sedimentary rock, when you apply a lot of temperature and pressure, becomes a metamorphic rock. And under the surface of the earth, it becomes magma and then comes out through the volcano again. So that thing, the entire process is called the rock cycle.
So now let's go to the detail about fossil. So we will see a video about how the process works. So open your notebook and watch the video.
Millions of years ago, this dinosaur was going about his normal daily life. But his day went from good to bad, really bad. After he died, other dinosaurs ate him, and the rest of his skin and muscles rotted away, leaving just his bones. These were quickly buried by mud. Over millions of years, more layers landed on top: mud, sand, and even volcanic ash. This added up to a lot of weight on top of the skeleton. Some parts got crushed. The layers of mud, sand, and ash turned into hard, sedimentary rocks. While this was happening, water seeped into the bones. It left behind minerals, turning the bones to stone and creating a fossil. Earth changed a lot over millions of years. Rocks that were once deep underground rose to the surface, a process called uplift. Very slowly, wind, water, and ice wore away the rock. Eventually, bits of the fossil skeleton were exposed and became visible on the surface. Fossils are constantly getting eroded out of rock. Most are lost. But if we're lucky, someone will find one. Nearly all of the fossils we find, around 99%, are from marine animals, such as shellfish and sharks. This is because they lived in the sea, where sand or mud could bury their remains quickly after they died. But dinosaurs live on land, so how do they get buried so quickly? Most dinosaur fossils we find belong to animals that were living near to a lake or a river. They died, and a short while later the area flooded, covering their remains in mud and silt. Occasionally, something more dramatic happened. In one example, two dinosaurs, Protoceratops and Velociraptor, were fighting in the desert. They were mid-battle when, suddenly, a sand dune collapsed on top of them. Their fossils show them frozen in their fighting poses. In another tragic example, the feathered dinosaur Sittipati was sitting on its nest of eggs when a sandstorm blew in and covered it. Fossils like this, from animals that were alive when they were buried are really rare. It's not just bones that turn into fossils. Dinosaurs can also leave behind footprints and impressions of skin and feathers. So next time you're near some sandstone or mudstone, think of what fossils could be hiding, just waiting to be discovered. It probably won't be a dinosaur fossil, as they're so rare, but it could be a prehistoric sea creature like an ammonite, which went extinct at the same time as dinosaurs many millions of years ago.
Okay, so there are two types of fossils. One is the fossil of the animal, and another is the fossil of the footprint. So in this picture, as you can see, the dinosaur walked on soft sand, and then his footprint was left in the sand. And over a period of time, there was more sedimentary rocks formed on that footprint, and eventually you have a footprint fossil formed. And here you see another picture of how everything gets deposited. First you have the fish, and then you have the water dries up, and then sand gets deposited, and then the animal starts walking on it, and then finally there's maybe a volcanic eruption, and the animal gets trapped in lava, and there's another layer formed, and people continue living. Okay? So this whole process is how fossils are formed over a period of time.
Maybe in your garden, if you dig deep enough, maybe you'll find some fossil. But ask your parent if you want to do it, otherwise you will have all for nothing maybe.
So just like teacher said, the deeper we dig, the further back in time we can see. Okay? And fossils are the preserved remains or traces of animals or other organisms from the past, and they show us that life has existed a long time before us, and life species have changed over time.
So here an exercise for you. So you will have clay and glue, and I'm sure you have a little toy or something, and you're gonna make a fossil. So you will see the video how to do it, and you are gonna make your own fossil. So the fossil is the first green hat, the first exercise, and then the second one is the diagram.
So here we have a diagram of the rock cycle, and as you can see, this is a little more complicated than the one we showed you before, but basically you have a volcano, and the volcano has lava. The lava makes igneous rock, and then the igneous rock becomes the metamorphic rock, and then the metamorphic rock becomes the sedimentary rock, and the full process continues. So it is a rock cycle. So you can do this as a thinking tool, and you can either do this diagram or you can draw the diagram that we showed you before. So you can go back, pause the video, and do that rock cycle on an A4 size paper.
For the clay, what you can do also, you can go outside and you take like a leaf or something from the garden. Then you can also print it out on the clay. And also try to observe around your house if you have some rocks and try to see what kind of rock it is. And you can take a picture and send a line and say what you think what it is. Okay, so what have you learned from this lesson? And like always, write the vocabulary in your notebook.
And the thinking tools for this time are a fossil in clay, and you have to draw the rock cycle on an A4 size paper.
Okay, see you for the next video.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.